Will identifying the one thing holding your business back and then going all in and fixing it help your business grow faster? I believe the answer is yes, because this is exactly what I help 6, 7 and 8 figure business owners fix at selfmastery.co so that they can systemize their growth, work less and scale faster. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can pinpoint the one thing that's holding your business back and how to go all in and solving it so you can blow up your business in less than 4 hours a day. Let's dive in. You're working twice as hard as you need to. And I know this is mind-blowing because every time you open up Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, you're told you need to work harder. And look, see, when I say you're working twice as hard as you need to, that's not me saying that you don't need to work hard. Obviously, you obviously need to work hard. But if you're spending your time working hard on the wrong problems, you can work 10 times harder than you need to and still make less progress. I see it literally all the time at selfmastery.co. A business owner starts working with me and they're spending their weeks, juggling fires, hiring more team members, launching new offers or tweaking their marketing, and yet no matter how much they do, growth feels bloody hard. And it's simply because most people are not aware of a systematic law. You see, your business is a collection of systems. And in systems theory, there's this thing called the theory of constraints. And basically, all it means is that there is only ever one constraint, one thing choking your growth, one problem that is holding your business back. And until you identify it, no amount of hustle, ideas, or trying harder will move the bloody needle forward. So if you think of your business like a production line in a factory, so if you imagine you've got your machines lined up, each doing its part, but one machine is slower than the rest and produces fewer units of product, whatever you're making per hour, well, it doesn't matter how fast the other machines can work because the entire production line is limited by the speed of the slowest machine as the machines before the slowest, right? If they are running at full capacity, the stock just piles up and bottlenecks at the slow machine. And the machines after the slowest machine, if they're running at full capacity, they have a ton of idle time as they wait for stock from the slow machine. That slow machine is your constraint. And this is where you're likely stuck right now. You're focusing on speeding up the other machines, whether that means working longer hours, hiring more people, posting more content or whatever, while ignoring the real issue, the constraint. And so your growth plateaus limited by your constraint. So at any moment, right, there's only ever one constraint limiting your business's growth because sure, multiple machines or metrics in your business may be, subpar, below what you want it to be at, but one of them is the lowest. One of them is restricting everything else. And so that means your job is not to fix everything at once. It is to identify the constraint and focus all your energy on removing it. That's why the key to explosive growth is not doing more. It's doing less, but doing better. I had a past client who came to me and their growth plateaued. And then, the natural thing to do when you stop growing is to try drive more volume through the system. So they decided to ramp up ad spend and get more leads. But when he came to me, I got him to identify the constraint, the one thing that was actually holding everything back. And it turned out his sales team was shit and was closing at like 10%. Which meant pouring more leads by turning up ad spend into that funnel would have been like pouring water into a leaky bucket. You lose half of it. So we ignored marketing completely, and instead I got him to rebuild his sales process from the ground up. So new SDRs, new training, new scripts, daily scorecards for the SDR so we could track their performance. And in a few months, his close rate doubled to like 20%, which, that's a pretty bang average close rate when the founder isn't taking calls. It's sort of like the minimum you'd want to be at. And to put that into perspective, by doubling your close rate and changing nothing else, you quite literally double your bloody revenue. So again, scaling often is not about doing more. It's about identifying the one constraint and going all in on fixing it. Which means you need a system that allows you to identify that bloody constraint. Think of it like flying a jet, okay? Pilots don't rely on gut feel to know if the plane is on course. They have dashboards of key metrics, altitude, airspeed, fuel, the metrics that tell them exactly what's happening. Your business needs the same. So if you want to know the one thing that's holding your business back, you need data. And for that, you need scorecards. Now, all a scorecard is a spreadsheet of all the metrics in a particular system of your business. I've went over in past videos how to build these scorecards on your systems. So I'll just give you a quick, hopefully 30-second overview. Hopefully I don't blabber on too long, but right, your business has 4 essential functions: marketing, sales, operations, and finance. What you need to do is list out every task in your business and based on the goal of the task, group it under the function it aligns most with. You then need to write out the steps to doing each of those tasks. Each function and all the tasks under that function form your systems. So Your marketing function and all the tasks under that function is your marketing system. And then the steps to doing each of those tasks are your SOPs for those tasks. Now, if you want a more in-depth video on how to build your systems, I'll link a past video of mine at the end of this one that'll show you exactly how to do it. Then to make your scorecards, you need to make a spreadsheet for each system. In that spreadsheet, you want a different tab for each month. In each tab, put the date of the month down the left-hand side. You then want the metrics that you're tracking along the top. And underneath each metric, you want a goal row, which simply tracks the goal that you want that metric to reach. Now, to know what metrics to track, you simply go through your systems from earlier and ask for each step of each task, and for each task itself, what number would show if this step is working well. And you track that. That's a metric. Now, not every step or every task can be tracked with a metric, that's fine, but most can. You'll also want to track conversion percentages, as in if a customer or lead has to go from one step to the next, as in, an email to a landing page, you'll want to track the percentage of people who go to that next step, as this will show you how well that step drives people to the next step. And look, unfortunately, I obviously don't know your system, so I can't tell you exactly what to track here. If I could, I would, but if you want some help, just copy and paste your system, so each task and all the steps of each task into ChatGPT, and simply ask it, these are the steps and tasks of the X system in my business. What here can be tracked to show me how well each step and each task is working? You then want to make an average and total row at the bottom that calculates the average and total of that metric for that month. You want to do this for every month. You then want to make an averages tab, which instead of tracking the date down the left-hand side, you put the month down the left-hand side, and then you track the average or total of that metric for each month. This is crucial as daily data has natural fluctuations, hence you don't want to make decisions based on daily data. We want to make decisions based on monthly data or at least weekly data, because that will show you the trend as in which way the data is moving over time. And if it's monthly data, it's going to show you the data is either moving up, staying still, or moving down month over month. And current trajectory is a better indication of future position than current position. Okay, so just because the metric's at a certain place right now doesn't mean it's going to be in a certain place next month. But trajectory, if it's staying still at that certain level, it's likely going to be at that level next month. If it's going up, it's likely going to be up next month. If it's going down, it's likely going to be down next month. And then to use these scorecards, you or the person on your team responsible for that department comes in at the end of every day, fills in the data for that scorecard for that day. You then need to create a business scorecard, which gives you an overview of the most important metrics in your entire business. Now, I've made a video diving deep into this business scorecard, and I also give you the scorecard template that I give to clients at selfmastery.co, so that you don't have to make it. I'll leave that video as the first link in the description below, so feel free to check it out after this one, obviously, and get that template and all. But basically in the business scorecard, and it has to be you as the business owner, so you actually have a pulse and an idea of how your business is performing. You come into this business scorecard every Sunday and fill in that week's data using the relevant data from the system scorecards. Once you have these scorecards built, you can then use them to start identifying the one thing holding your business back. That was definitely longer than 30 seconds. A good bit longer, but sure. Anyway, it had to be done. The way you do that is every Sunday, or whenever you decide to do it. I do recommend doing it on a Sunday, but Friday or Saturday works as well. You come into your business scorecard, you fill out that relevant week's data based on your system scorecard data. You then want to go to the business scorecard averages tab, and you'll see the goal row for each metric, right? And then in the data, look for this month and look for the metric that is the furthest below the goal earliest in the system, and that will likely be your constraint. Now, I say likely because there's two reasons, right? One, the constraint is normally 90% of the time the metric furthest below the goal earliest in the system, but it's not always, okay? Because sometimes there's a metric super far below its goal later in the system that's holding the business back. The only real way to tell what metric is your constraint is by looking at your data. So unfortunately, again, I can't help you more than this right now. Then secondly, to find the true constraint, you need to identify that metric that looks like your constraint in your business scorecard. You then go to the metrics system scorecard. So if in your business scorecard there's a marketing metric that looks like the constraint, you go to the marketing scorecard. You then look at your averages tab in that scorecard and find the metric that is the constraint in the system scorecard, as that is your true constraint. Now, it might be the same metric as the metric you identified in your business scorecard, or it might not be. The only way to tell is to look at your data. This is why we need both the business and the system level scorecards, okay? The business scorecard gives you an overview of the most important metrics and in their business, and the system scorecard gives you the precision that you need to identify the true constraint. As often in the business scorecard, if a metric looks like a constraint, it might be because a metric in its system is limiting it. And once you find your constraint, you simply want to ask yourself, what's the one action I can take this week to remove it? Now, what that will be will depend on the metric and your business, but how can you improve that metric? You then block time every day that week to execute on improving that metric. And of course, if you have a team, you get whoever is in charge of that metric based on its system. So if the constraint is in marketing, you get your marketing guy to focus on fixing that metric that week. And you focus on that constraint until it's fixed. Because guess what? Fixing a constraint isn't always instant, okay? Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes months, that's fine. Keep attacking it until it is resolved. And when it's gone, once you fix that constraint, the next constraint will reveal itself based on your data, and you can move on to fixing it. And this way you're constantly making progress. You're constantly improving the one thing that's limiting your business. And that way you're actually growing, and you'll get exponential growth over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now, of course, if you have a big enough team, maybe you can work on fixing the major constraint and the second most underperforming metric at the same time, okay? So long as they don't influence each other, and that's really because to actually learn from the things you do in business, you need to operate under the scientific method, which I went over in my previous video how to do that. So, you can go check that out if you're interested in learning how to do things in business and actually learning from what you do so that you can do better over time and grow faster whilst working less. Either way, when you run your business this way, you stop wasting time on the wrong things. There's no more working 60-hour weeks to feel productive. There's no more scattered focus. It's like clearing a blocked pipe. At first, water trickles out, okay? So you think you need more water pressure, but the real problem is not the pressure, it's the blockage. And when you remove the blockage, when you fix the constraint, water flows effortlessly. The exact same is true for your business. You remove the bottleneck and growth stops feeling like an uphill bloody battle. Now, I referenced a lot of videos in this video that will help you understand and be able to implement this theory of constraints to blow up your business. Because look, I'm not going to lie to you, this theory of constraints is actually rather simple once you have everything built, but there is a lot that goes into making it simple. You need your scorecards, you need to know how to learn from the things that you do so you can actually remove and prevent bottlenecks, and you also, of course, need your systems built so you can build your scorecards in the first place. So if you want to check out the business scorecard, how to build it, how to use it, and also get the template I give to clients, click the first link in the description below. If you want a system that lets you learn from what you do in business so you can grow faster, click the second link in the description below. And if you want to build systems so your business runs without you, check out this video on screen now.